Welcome to What Are You Reading? A podcast with the Public Library of Mount Vernon in Knox County. My name is Christy.
And I'm Katie.
And this month, we are finishing up our collaboration with the COBAA LSTA grant. So with that grant, we were able to purchase additional copies of books that are either by Ohio authors or have won awards that are offered here in Ohio. And we thought we would go out with a local author. So Katie and I both read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Now, she is originally from Shaker Heights. So she's an Ohioan. And we were able to purchase extra copies of this through the grant. So big shout out again to Jamie Lynn Smith Fletcher for helping us with that. So Katie and I, spoiler alert, I'm just going to jump to the end. We loved this book. We really did.
Agreed.
So when Katie came into work this morning, we instantly started talking about it. And we talked at length about many different topics that we both got out of it.
And I will say, was it Netflix?
Hulu.
Hulu. The Hulu series does not do this book justice. So if you watch the series and didn't like it, don't judge the book by the series.
Yeah.
I love Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, but it was not for me.
Yeah, it was very different. And you know, we've usually I will get something stuck in my head. So I usually I'm the opposite of a lot of people. I'll try to read the text first before I see something. Just because I'm worried I'm going to get stuck with whatever my initial visual of the character is, you know? And so in this particular circumstance, I had watched the show first. And when I first started reading it, I was picturing Reese Witherspoon and I was picturing Kerry Washington and the kids and everything. And as I was going, I thought, I don't know. I don't know that I know. They're wonderful actors. Everyone does a fantastic job. But because the tone is different, I ended up liking the book better.
Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
So to give you guys like a little bit of a hint of what the book's about, we open in 1998 with the Richardson home in Shaker Heights, Ohio, burning down, catching fire. The Richardson family is Elena, who's the mom. We have some children, Izzy, Lexi, Moody, and Tripp, Elena's husband, and they're a pretty well-to-do family. Shaker Heights is known for being a rather wealthy area in Ohio, if you aren't familiar. And then we also meet Mia and Pearl Warren, who move into the rental home of the Richardson family. And they come from a more transient artist lifestyle. So very different classes. And, things unfold that cause a lot of drama. We also we were talking about this because the show focuses a lot on race. And it kind of, in my opinion, there was race, gender, class. But I was talking to Katie and I thought the book, in my opinion, the topics kind of went class, gender, race. How did you feel about it?
Yeah. There are only two characters that are assigned a race. One of them is African American, he's dating Lexi, the oldest Richardson daughter. And there's a Chinese woman that works with Mia who's named Bibi Chow. Other than that, we don't get any physical descriptions. And there's a couple of places here and there where it seems like Mia is probably white also. But it could be.
It's open to interpretation. And I think the series definitely made choices to kind of expand on additions to the story. So what we have is when Mia and Pearl are moving into the Richardson home, Pearl automatically is like, oh my gosh, kids, like teens my age. So Pearl develops a relationship with Moody, the son, one of the Richardson sons, and they get very close. And Pearl starts spending all of this time at the Richardson home, and Mia, her mother, starts to worry a little bit because she's instilled values in Pearl that are a lot different than what she's being exposed to at the Richardsons. And just that it's a difference in class, in just about everything that Mia values as an independent artist. Mm-hmm. So she wants Pearl to still maintain, the way she was raised with Mia, I think. Mm-hmm. And as the story's unfolding, we're finding out why and who confirmed set the fire. So as we go back in time into the book, so we're opening with the fire in 1998, and then we say, okay, let's see about what happened the year before. What led us up to this happening, this event? And we find out that those two families intersecting really causes all of this drama to unfold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is their preconceived notions are challenged. Mm-hmm. The Mrs. Richardson, as she is referred to in the book a lot, has a certain idea about herself. And that keeps getting butted against how she treats Mia, which is something that causes conflict even in her own family. Which makes I will admit there are a couple of times that you get a little cringy.
Yeah.
But a lot of the best books do that.
Yeah.
Because it causes you to think about things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about a lot before we started recording, was just there really aren't any perfect characters in this book.
Yeah.
I would say Moody is probably the closest. He's an unfortunate bystander to a lot of things that happen. And I did not like Elena at all.
Yeah.
Which that's one carryover from the TV series. A lot of the stuff got confirmed there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that she's kind of our villainous character in a way. Because she is well-to-do, and the things that she does see as charitable, she's doing for self-serving purposes. So, to advance her business or to advance her reputation, which will in turn enhance her business. Like, all of this does come down to how do we maintain our class ranking? The idea of, needing the people that she considers to be below her, but not wanting to integrate them into her life fairly.
Yeah, and that's the whole I'm honestly surprised that she even offered to rent the house to Mia, because their lifestyles are very in conflict. Strangely, they had similar upbringings, but it's like the rebel and the golden child.
Yeah.
So maybe that is the reason that she does, because she sees Pearl, Mia's daughter, and is like, oh, well, I can improve her life. And that will make me feel better about myself. Yeah,
I think they became kind of a talking point, right? Of like, oh, well, I'm renting to this single mother. Look what I did. I'm helping them. And, here they are. I'm going to invite them to this party, as kind of a showpiece of my charitable nature. Even allowing them in the neighborhood. She's getting that money for that rent, but she's, look at what I did. Because normally I wouldn't rent to someone, below a certain class standing. Is kind of the vibe, right? Like, and what makes it really cringy, because I think we've all been in a situation where we've felt like we've been talked down to, or that we don't match a certain aesthetic, you know, of wherever you might be. So I think that this was like super relatable, because we've all been in some sort of strange situation like that.
Yeah. And when the book first came out, we couldn't even keep it on the shelves because we were having so many book clubs do it. It is basically the perfect book club book because there is so much going on. There's the class issues. There's a teensy bit of race issues. There is a women hurting women kind of dynamic. And halfway through the book, there's this mothers and daughters kind of juxtaposition that comes in because there is a woman who leaves her child, her infant, on the steps of the fire department and then walks away, but then later decides that she wants the child, but the child has already been placed in a home and they're like 3/4 of the way through adopting her. So there's this huge court case. And honestly, we don't know what the right answer should be.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think. So it's a great book to discuss. And everyone can have a different opinion on what they think the answer should be. How that incident actually brings our two main characters really together in a not so good way. It kind of brings the whole story together. And I think that you're right. One of the main themes running through this is gender, is being a woman in the world and what that means and what pitfalls come with that, complications that come with that, and how that's handled depending on, unfortunately, your resources. Because we see characters handle things like teen pregnancy, unplanned pregnancies, actual families. You know, just because a child is wanted doesn't necessarily mean that you have all of the resources to take care of them. So there's a lot of topics in here that can lead to some really great discussion, but yet are still something that all of us can relate to in one way or another. And I do think that it helps having the show. Even though we liked the book better, the show is a great doorway, you know, if you aren't a reader, to kind of get you interested.
Yeah, I would think that if you liked the show, you would probably like the book as well. Like we said, it is very different in that it focuses more heavily on race than is actually in the book, but it still has some of that classism kind of issue with it. And yeah, Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon did a fabulous job with it.
They did.
It seemed more of like a downer for me than the book was.
Yeah.
And we will say the ending, there is some resolution, but it's more like we're exchanging one set of problems for another set of problems.
Yeah, we definitely have characters that make decisions that might not necessarily be what we would consider the right decision, or something that's going to help them in the long run. So there's a lot of snap decisions out of necessity. That lead us to our ending. So we won't spoil it for you because you kind of have to find out for yourself what led up to this fire, why it's so important, and how we got there, which is, if you were like way back when, I remember like Desperate Housewives coming out. I'm probably dating myself with that, but you know, like I remember that coming out and that being like a big deal. And there's that kind of underlying current of this perfect, and as you can see, like from the cover, right, there's this perfect neighborhood. In the middle of that, there's little fires everywhere.
Yeah, and that's something that Christy brought up off camera is it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. Life is messy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some of us are better at hiding it than others.
Totally.
And learning a little bit more about Shaker Heights was interesting for me.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was up near Cleveland, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But it was an actual planned community.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why if you have read Little Fires Everywhere and want to know more, we just got this book in that it does deal with race.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about Shaker Heights and how that transpired. It even is mentioned, I think, in the book that they were kind of at the forefront of integration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we were just looking for, and this is nonfiction, we were looking for our next month's book, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is about Shaker Heights. Like, and this definitely gets me interested in wanting to know more. Because there is a rich history there. And, I've always found that interesting when there's a plan for a dream town, like this perfect suburban dream, right?
Yeah, and I used to teach, and we had a lot of science fiction stories that we can create a perfect world.
Yeah.
And it never works.
It never works.
So it's always interesting, and especially that this one is really based in fact, because the Shakers planned Shaker Heights for a specific purpose, and it's a place where humans live. So it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect.
We will say too, the audiobook's fantastic.
Yes, we both listened to it.
We did. So, you can check this out, obviously, with us here at the library, any of our branches. And you can also listen to the audiobook. So, thanks to Libby and Hoopla, we've got it in all different versions. So everybody can enjoy this and get a lot out of it, I think.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like the perfect way to wrap up the year.
Yes. And I will say, this was the book that I was least looking forward to, because I had reactions to the show.
Yeah.
But it ended up being, I think, the most enjoyable read that we've done with this grant.
Yeah, I think so too. The readability was there. Celeste is just such a phenomenal writer. I mean, everyone that we read has won awards and has done amazing things. And this one just hit for both of us. So thank you all for joining us for another year of What Are You Reading? We appreciate all of you. So thank you so much for continuing to watch us, listen to us, share us on social. It's great. So we'll see you in 2024. Bye.
Bye.